From MZ Studios in Dallas, Texas, you're listening to the Tennis Revolution podcast.
What a journey. What a journey.
Us getting back in town?
Yes, not Nadal, not anybody else, just us making it here.
Nadal, that wasn't a journey.
First of all, let me apologize to all listeners for last week's debacle. We went way too long. I didn't know how to fix it. It wouldn't download more than 100 megs, so I just had to... I did the editing myself. Basically, all I did was cut last week's...
all my speaking parts.
Yeah, I went in and got rid of you completely. No. I went in and just cut it in half, or half-ish, and just put up 2 episodes.
Oh, double the listeners.
Killed us on numbers. Killed us.
You would think that would have helped us.
Well, I don't think people got to the second one. Maybe it didn't automatic. I don't know. It was a disaster. An absolute disaster. And now we're getting it out a day late this time.
Yeah.
But they don't know that until they download it, and then we're good once they do that.
Yeah. It might be up there by tonight.
Oh, man. I got the face for radio, just not the brain. What a disaster. But here we are, Monday.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about this week, so we'll have to control ourselves too.
Well, listen, we really wanted to make sure we waited until Monday in case any of those finals ran really long. And we didn't want to miss anything because we go to bed early.
In case they were really competitive and hard-fought battles.
Yes. And they were not.
For the viewers.
Oh, they were awful. Awful.
Well, I had a friend text me and he said, tennis is so bad right now. Like, what? It's not fun to watch the same people win. I'm like, finally, someone else besides us said it. Like, we've been saying it for years.
Maybe I'm following different people or more newer people on Twitter, but tennis Twitter is coming around. Finally.
And again, we've said it so many times. We're fine with those people winning. Like, that's fine. I mean, it would be nice if someone else won, but them winning is okay. But can we at least make it look like they're not head and shoulders above everyone else?
It's not even.
It's not head and shoulder. It's
close.
Like ankle, knee, waist, head, and shoulders.
Ankles, knees, and toes. Knees and toes. It is far. It's far. It's pitiful. And we're hoping a decrepit, one-legged Andy Murray can come back and help us. The Big Four. Big Four, give me a break.
That tells you the state of tennis right there. That's how I'm that excited to see him compared to everybody else who's healthy.
And he's going to come back and be a threat.
Is he going to beat Gasquet first match back? Because Gasquet's a perennial top 25 player.
Man.
Because that would be a big indictment on this era, too, even though Gasquet's having his own issues. But still, if you could come back and beat someone like that in your first match back, that would be really bad.
Yeah.
For the sake of the tour also.
Yes. I don't like it.
Unless he wins one match and then can't even finish the next one or whatever, but still.
Oh boy. What a state we are in. Well, anyway, so we had 2 tournaments, but they were one. Or one tournament, yet they were 2. I don't know how you want to describe it. 2 different tournaments. At least they're in different venues, so it looks like they should be unequal pay.
Right.
Which we discussed last week, which nobody listened to because of my editing issues.
And that was in the news this week again.
Of course.
But it seemed to be a little bit more accepted just because it was explained why they were separate. So that seemed to make people quiet down a little bit compared to normal.
Not tennis Twitter, which I apparently...
Tennis Twitter's never quiet.
No, I need to stop listening to tennis Twitter. So yeah, so we had Canada. At least we had weather to be jealous of up there.
Yeah.
Although, listen, there were some positives, but when it culminates into disastrous finishes, it changes what the rest of the tournament meant. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, and that's what we've talked about too. It doesn't matter. And this is a stolen analogy I heard from someone else, but they said it doesn't matter if you have an incredible movie. If the last 5 minutes are horrible, people are going to walk out of the theater remembering how horrible the movie was. And it's the same with a tournament. You could have incredible matches leading up, and then you get two finals where the two losers combine to win 4 games. That it can't have people leave happy.
The men's final was almost shorter than the women's. and the women's only lasted 4 games.
That was a great line. Well, I was going to ask. It's actually
I've been holding on to that. By the way, we're recording late, so I had to sit on it for 24 hours.
But what's sad is you could actually have a legitimate debate, I think, about which final was better, even though the women's final went 4 games. Because I would argue the women's final might be better just because of Andreescu winning, Canadian. Like, I think there's actually potentially an argument to say the women's final was better, and it was 3-1 retired.
Yeah, both ended in tears
for the fans again.
Yeah, they won the losers, the uppers.
Did Medvedev actually cry?
No,
I don't know. He might have, not that we saw.
No,
he should have.
Yes, they won about the same amount of games,
right?
Relative to how many they played, percentage-wise, actually, Serena did better,
right?
Yeah, it wasn't good. They were both in Canada. That's something.
I mean, there is some excitement because Andreescu, being Canadian, a teenager, like the real deal when she can come back from injury and win a tournament like that.
And she is hopefully, this is a small indicator of her maybe fulfilling that, next big thing moniker that she got prior to being out for a while.
When we talked about Osaka winning 2 slams and being pretty rare in recent memory in 1 year, it's pretty rare for even a woman to win 2 Masters in 1 year. And now she's done it, and she's only played probably 4 or 5 tournaments. So now part of that maybe people aren't familiar with her game. That could be something to do with it, but I actually wish she wasn't playing this week. I wish she was taking that week off and just rolling into the Open, just rolling that confidence. And it's sort of like one of those Kyrgios type outliers where he's just somebody you don't want to play because you really don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, but she tries.
Well, when I say you don't know what you're going to get, not for the same reasons. For her, because of injury, you don't know what you're going to get.
Well, we haven't seen it in a while. We thought we knew what we were going to get, and then she went away. Now she's back, and maybe that's what we're going to get. Although, man, she looked busted up. She had everything taped, man.
That's what scares me when she's like 19 and dealing with all that. That's the only thing I worry about.
Yeah.
That's why I say I wish she was just off this week and save it for the Open. Because she's really not gaining anything by playing this week. I mean, she's got the seeding now for the Open. That's really all she needs. It's more important for her to have the week off than to try to play another tournament, I would think.
So the final was on Sunday.
For the men.
Right.
Oh, they both were.
Yeah, they both were. And then also, thankfully, Cincinnati started on Sunday because otherwise we had no real tennis to speak of. And we won't talk about Cincinnati yet, but how do you like that? I mean,
that's something that needs to be the norm. For that exact reason, you got one final on the day. Well, that's 2 hours of tennis. Then you have no tennis the rest of that day. And if it's a bad final or one you're not interested in, like you said, there would normally be nothing else.
Right.
Except that same match replayed 5 times.
Right.
No matter how bad it is, they're going to replay it.
And that's just the first hour. After that, they're going to have to replay it more. Come on now. I'm on fire.
So I loved it when I turned. I was like, what? I was like, wow, Cincinnati's already on. I loved it. I thought that was great.
So your contention is, and we should talk about the women first, since your contention is even with a 4-game final and a retirement, that was a better tournament overall because of everything you mentioned. A Canadian, I mean, the only downfall to that tournament was a retirement in the final, which sounds weird to say, but what's the difference between that and the men's final? Not a lot.
And you know how willing I am to criticize Serena. I really have no criticism for that because there's no possible way she's quitting there unless she just absolutely cannot play.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So I have no problem with that at all.
4 games in.
Right.
It's not like she was reading the tea leaves thinking, oh, I'm done.
In fact, the fact that she went out there at all actually is, I'll give her more credit than I normally do.
Yeah, because you said it started happening the night before, I guess, back spasms or something.
Well, and again, it's that 2 matches in a day that I always joked about, because we had to do that in local tournaments all the time, 2 matches in a day, but it when the pros do it causes serious issues, it seems, because Monfils had to withdraw after 1 match. I mean, he didn't even start the second match.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that that's happened a few times this year, and every time it's ended with a withdrawal, it seems like.
Yeah.
Federer did it earlier this year, won 2 matches in the same day, and then withdrew, didn't play the next match.
Although I don't know that Monfils did it for any,
Well, him beating Nadal, I can't. It's just a terrible matchup. I can't see any way he beats Nadal ever. I'm sure he has,
right.
But it just doesn't seem. That's not someone you go out against injured, to put it that way.
Right. Yeah.
And they said this tournament said they lost $500,000 because of him withdrawing, because of ticket refunds, I guess, or whatever. And they were blaming the weather. That's why they're getting the stadium in a few years. But they were saying, or a roof, I mean. But they were saying that he wouldn't have withdrawn if it was the next. I'm like, I'm not sure about that. I mean, if he's injured and playing Nadal, he's probably not going to bother going out there.
Yeah, maybe
if he's another 12 hours recovery, who knows? But for the sake of the refund, it would have made a difference. But I don't think it would have been a high quality match regardless.
Yeah, I like having a lucky loser on reserve just to play a match. Like a practice match. It doesn't count if Nadal loses.
Right.
And just have a match to play. Or I guess you could just have 2 lucky losers chilling. You just pay them.
Yeah.
You just pay them to hang out. Nadal, doesn't play, but...
They've done that in tournaments that I've attended. Well,
but it can't be like McEnroe,
Right.
I like to see some youngsters.
Well, even if you got... I mean, the problem at that stage of the tournament is probably not that many people left there. But
yeah, but you just find guys or girls, if it was that case, that aren't going to be in qualifying for Cincy, and you just say, "Hey, we'll house you and feed you for 4 days."
Right. You mean keep them on call like the whole week?
Yeah,
yeah.
That's cheaper than $500,000,
right?
And then you just put in the ticket price, the fine print, no refunds. Tennis will be played. You didn't know you were getting Monfils in the first place,
right? And
now you're still not. So don't worry about it.
Nah, and I think the people would appreciate that. I mean, yeah, when they had the tournament, and again, I love this tournament that was here, but when they had the tournament here, I think it was Isner that dropped out, or it was a big name that dropped out, big name for a challenger, especially.
Yeah, 125 here,
and they
Dallas.
filled it up with like 4 club pros, and I'm like, that's not really
a bit much.
A fair comparison.
Yeah,
like
these are people that were almost in the main draw versus
top 20 player.
Were you one of them?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, thank goodness.
Otherwise, people would have come, I'm sure.
I would have gotten double refund. So, on the women's side, we had Andreescu hopefully fulfilling the promise she made so many years ago. Just a year.
Yeah, exactly. When she was a kid.
Yeah. We also have Kenin is really, to me, that's the best part of this.
You've been talking about her for a while.
Oh, I'm going to take credit. I don't remember.
But no, you have been. I mean, I remember you talking about her when she was in Fed Cup, like at the end of last year.
So I immediately erase these from my memory as soon as we record. So Ash Barty, gone to Kenin. 3 sets.
And that was a good match. I did see that.
Yeah. And then, and so, again, that looked different than Osaka has looked losing over the past however many, months since she won her second Grand Slam.
Right. I wouldn't say she's fading.
Context matters,
right.
I guess is what we're getting at. And so if you're out there competing against somebody who is another potential up-and-comer in Sofia Kenin, USA, then I can live with that. These are professional tennis players, people.
Yeah.
And they are playing at a high level, and particularly with Kenin, who's had a nice run this summer. It's not excusable is the wrong way, but it's okay. It doesn't bother me. I don't read anything into Barty falling apart like Osaka seemingly has.
Well, I think the one thing that's always alarming when you talk about, a player downward spiral, it's 2 things. One, less effort, and I haven't seen that from Barty at all. I would say maybe not effort's the right word with Osaka, but there's definitely been some moments of carelessness. You don't call that lack of effort, but that. And the other thing is just nerves, and I've seen that from Osaka.
Yeah, that
maybe
pressure
a little bit from Barty, but
that pressure creeping in now that you're supposed to do something. You're supposed to win this match or that match after the success. So anyway, hopefully Barty can continue that, and I don't care if she's number one. I just want her to be a threat at every tournament she plays. You know what I'm saying?
Did Osaka officially pass her?
I don't know.
They were talking. I thought they said if Osaka won a match or two, she would pass her again.
Gotcha. She won. She beat. She had a bye, and then she beat Maria, and she beat Swiatek, or however you say her name.
But I did see that.
By the way, people pronounce her name with all kinds of consonants that are not in it, and I don't understand other languages.
But I did see that. I think Osaka is still the 2 seed for the next tournament, but I know that they do the seedings earlier. But
right.
But that will be another topic they love to discuss going to the Open. Who's going to finish? Who's going to be number one at the end of this tournament?
Don't care.
Right.
Don't care. Year end is the only thing.
And they don't care either because they'd much rather win the tournament and not be number one than the other way around.
Yeah, except for Halep. That was a big deal for her. But.
Well, getting it one, I mean, especially for, you're talking about Osaka and Barty, they've both been there. So finishing number 2 is not, they don't care. Getting it for the first time is a big deal. I mean, for your whole life, you can say that.
Right. So to me, aside from Andreescu being a Canadian winning it, and again, does it take anything away from you that Serena, who beat Osaka on her way, and again, for whatever that's worth, who cares? But she still, made it to the final also.
I would say sometimes it does.
Does it now?
In this case, I would say no, only because she beat other good players to get there.
Yeah.
Like when Sock won his Masters.
What?
I can't go this far without
who?
When Jack Sock won his Masters, he beat nobody en route. Like if she had beaten nobody and then got to the finals of Serena and got lucky, that would mean something. But she beat Burtons, who's a top 5 player.
Yep. Pliskova.
Yeah, another top 5 player. So, I mean, she's, to me, already earned being in the finals. It wasn't like she, coasted to the finals.
And wait, she also beat Bouchard.
Yeah, we were actually talking about that match, being somewhat excited about it. I do have Canadian friends, and they were like, why would they put Bouchard and Andreescu? I'm like, Bouchard would have lost no matter who she played. Like, what does it matter?
That's true.
I said,
why did they put them? Yeah, that's the Canadian Federation. They're not trying to,
I said, now they're guaranteed to have a Canadian in the second round.
Maybe so they are cheating. Maybe that's why they did it.
Well, because Felix played Pospisil first round, too.
Yeah, Pospisil.
And the winner played Raonic. It was real weird.
Oh, wow.
It was a weird quadrant.
So, anyway, I agree with you. Her performance overall isn't tarnished, I don't think, by Serena retiring. And we may, find out more going into the Open, but...
well, obviously that would have made it better if she would have beaten Serena on top of the other players, but...
Yeah.
I don't think you could say that she didn't deserve to win or anything like that.
No, not at all. Some may say is what I was getting at Twitter and
but
whatnot.
She would have had a legitimate chance to win if they're both healthy, the way she's playing.
Oh, sure.
So that's the other thing. It wasn't like it's not like the Gaston Gaudio beating Guillermo Coria 15 years ago when Coria couldn't walk.
Wayback machine.
Well, it's probably one of the most undeserving big wins ever. I was trying to think of undeserving winners.
Undeserving, that's harsh. So Andreescu has a great tournament, and I'm excited to see what she looks like going forward. Like you, I hope she doesn't have a disastrous outing in Cincy.
I'm okay with that. If she loses first round, I think it's maybe better for her.
Just so she's fit.
Right.
Yeah, maybe. Although it may, hurt her confidence, but... So aside from that story, which you seem to like that, a Canadian, a hometown, you always like hometowners, so do I. I think my big takeaway is Kenin, and hopefully she can carry that momentum on through Cincy and then into the U.S. Open because, without having Serena as a lock for making it deep, we need somebody because
right after we talked about Keys and Stevens, they flamed out early.
A disaster. We need to have 9 Americans all right next to each other. So no matter what, we'll at least get one through.
We need the Canadian strategy. They'll play each other.
Canadian
Somebody's got to win.
Put 27 of them in the same quarter. I know there's more than that. I get it.
She's kind of separated herself from all the other younger Americans at this point.
Yeah.
I still think Risk has an opportunity to keep the momentum going, but she's got a tough draw this coming week, so we'll see how that goes. But there's really no one else. Like, who else going to the Open are you excited about from America? You can't be excited about Keys or Stevens. How could you?
I'm not at all.
I mean, Stevens, you can just because she's a big match player, does better at the bigger events, as if the Rogers Cup isn't a big event. But
right, well, it's not the biggest for sure.
But besides that, that's the only reason I would have confidence in her.
She's done it before. That's literally the only thing that makes me think, maybe she'll kind of get in a nice little comfort zone or something. But yeah, if I had to put money on it, not a chance.
I just hope Kenin is ranked high enough to be seeded, even though we've proven that doesn't matter necessarily. But I just think it's a scheduling advantage, if nothing else, especially in a slam.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully, really, why not play a seed, beat her, and then your draw opens up?
Right, then you're in her seated position.
And you get a little confidence because you took her out. I'm not worried about that at all.
Yeah, I think it just I think it's you're more likely to get well, I guess you're right. If you played the 4-seed first round, you're in the 4-seed slot, so it doesn't matter. Then you're in, like you said, you're in a good position.
I mean, you have to look at how Halep comes, because she retired, precautionary retirement, I guess, more than actually having to retire. And it was an Achilles, and she needs her legs for sure.
And it makes you wonder if she's going to play this week.
Who knows?
There's no way Serena's playing.
Or test it out or see what's what, because again, I don't want it to be a 2-person race. I'd like there to be 9 people that can win it.
Well, we don't have that problem with the women's.
I know, typically we do not. So anyway, that my biggest takeaway, the thing that got me most excited, because again, none of this matters except as it relates to the U.S. Open,
right? And
I'm hoping this bodes well for Kenin as an American, but more generally, I'd like to see how Andreescu, uses the momentum.
Well, and I was going to say, is there anything positive you can take out of the entire men's draw? Because it's not easy.
They made more money.
Don't start that argument again.
And by the way, Halep is in the draw.
Speaking of Nadal withdrew from Cincinnati, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
We're not to the men yet. Sexist, quit it.
Oh, I thought we were just doing
general.
All.
We could. Who cares?
All Rogers Cup.
Maybe it is one tournament. Yeah, on the men's side, what a bleep show.
Well, and it's kind of like you're going to get what we talked about, like Federer, Djokovic play this week, Nadal plays last week, so none of them play each other probably going into...
and who cares, ultimately?
Well, Nadal also screwed up all the seeding on that because he was the 2 seed, so I think Federer and Djokovic might still be in the same half. But listen...
Well, are you moving on yet? Or
no, I'm going back.
So the Rogers Cup, back to Montreal.
Yeah, so listen to this, the ages of these quarterfinalists. You had Monfils, Bautista, Nadal, and Fognini. All 30 plus. So there's nothing to be excited about.
By the way, Zverev lost again. I don't know if you knew that.
Well, that's the other 4 were Kachanov, Zverev. So if you heard these were 4 of the quarterfinalists, you would think, man, tennis has a bright future. Kachanov, Zverev, Medvedev team, and that was the young half, and then they had the old half. Well, and then what happened?
Knockdown, drag out on the bottom half, and then Nadal smokes them all.
Team gets destroyed. Number 2 seed gets destroyed. And in his post match,
he's a clay court specialist.
Yeah. So in the post match, they said the headline. I had to click on this. I was like, I can't wait to read this. It says, "Team explains his loss at Rogers Cup," and it was a pretty hard transition for me coming from Kitzbühel on clay to the Masters. Yeah, that's why nobody else was there but you,
right?
Because it was
exactly,
stupid,
you idiot.
And then he said, "I can't complain about my performance." So you lost 3-1, and you can't complain about your performance. Problem number 1.
If I was your coach, I could.
And he said, "I did about as well as I expected to do." I'm like, so that pretty much encapsulated his entire career in that interview. So I played a clay court.
That's pretty harsh, but I tend to agree.
I played a clay court warm-up for a hard court Masters. I had to travel thousands of miles. I didn't expect to win, and then I didn't win. It's like everything about that interview was horrible. Like if you were his
right.
coach, you would say, who am I training? Someone who doesn't train to win, doesn't expect to win, and then is satisfied with his horrible performance. He said, I don't know how I could have expected to do any better. I mean, something like, I'm not quoting him exactly,
Yeah.
But,
no, but I think that story, along with the rest of them, I mean, it's a tale of two halves. Like you said, the top half was a bunch of old dudes. The bottom half was young dudes.
But outside of Monfils' withdrawal, look how they battled. I mean, Monfils beat Bautista 7-6 in the third. Nadal and Fognini went to 3 sets. I mean, those guys are pushing each other even still. And then the other match, Kachanov Zverev was 3-3. Number 3 player in the world loses 3-3.
Although 2-6, 6-1, 6-2. Yeah. I don't know how.
I wanted to watch that match because I know Nadal can't stand Fognini though.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
That's the only reason I wanted to watch it.
Yeah. That's not a great score line to think, oh wow, a 3-setter. It must have been. Nope, it wasn't.
But what's funny is Fognini's beaten him several times, but they don't have close matches.
Right.
Like when Fognini's beaten him, it's been like 3-3. Which is so weird. It's really strange, their kind of history. And it's sort of like, can Fognini... And Fognini won 6-2, so he had to be doing something to frustrate Nadal in the beginning. And then, obviously, that didn't work anymore. Or his shot stopped going in.
Kicking over water bottles. All right, so that's enough for last week. Let's move on to the future. And that's Cincinnati. And we'll do that when we come back.
It's time to join the revolution. Go to our website, tennisrevolutionpodcast.com, to get the latest episodes, email us your questions and comments, or give us show ideas.
You know where you can get a bowl of spaghetti with chili on top?
Steak and Shake?
Cincinnati.
You can get that here.
Spaghetti.
Yeah, I know.
With chili on top.
Steak and Shake has done that for years. Chili on top of spaghetti.
What?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
And they just closed the Steak and Shake that was about a block from my house.
Wait a minute. Are you serious?
I'm 100% serious. It's on their regular menu every day.
Well, that doesn't make sense.
Opening your eyes.
I've been told that Skyline Chili is one of a kind.
Felix already lost, by the way, in the Western and Southern Open.
Well, that's a disaster. Yeah, but what about Cincinnati?
I hate that name. And
actually, it's in Mason, Ohio, by the way.
We're missing Murray. He just started.
He did just start.
He's already down a break.
Yes, he is.
Let's just keep recording till that's over.
So, all right. So the story of Cincinnati. All right. First of all, unfortunately, it's men and women at the same time in the same place at the same facility.
In the same draw?
Should be.
Billie Jean King once?
Let's just do it. Why not?
That would be a one-tournament experiment, by the way.
Oh, yeah, for sure. By the way, the women are getting 2.9 mil. Men, take a guess. Okay, I'll tell you.
See, this is one of the tournaments I would think would be equal.
6.7.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah, well, the women can do whatever they want, and they decided to make this one a smaller tournament.
Right. No, I do remember that now. I remember this isn't because we talked about that before. This is not the tier 1 or whatever.
I don't have any idea. Why can't they just do numbers?
2.9 is still a lot for what's not a tier 1.
Yeah, well, they probably don't have as much money overall.
Right. Well, like you said, it was all this is pre-negotiated. That's what I think is funny is the controversy always comes out the week of the tournament. Like, you could probably found this out 6 months ago.
No, what you ought to do is go to wherever they negotiate this.
Right.
At the time they're negotiating it, and then argue about it.
Yeah.
And then we don't have to hear about it.
Well, and like you said, the men might be on a 10-year contract. The women could be on a 3-year contract. You know, it's like they're not set up the same time.
Yeah.
And if I go to rent out AT&T Stadium, I don't get to ask, hey, what did they guys have to pay last weekend? Like, it's not how it works.
Well, more importantly, the only analogy to me that matters is you don't compare men's tennis to men's basketball.
Right.
There's pay inequality right there.
Yeah.
What's the problem? Oh, they're two different sports? Well, guess what? So are men's and women's tennis.
Right.
They're the same actual sport itself, but the entities are separate sports, no different than the NBA and the NFL. They're different.
Well, and what would the common sense argument be if someone said, well, but it's still 3 hours of time, men's tennis match. The argument would be which one gets the most people to come.
By the way, my surgeon, I don't have a surgeon, but my surgeon.
Say, what do I need to know?
A surgeon. His 3 hours of time is probably worth a little bit more than your 3 hours on court, although you provide a heck of a service.
That's true. But I'm saying
I'm not saying women are tennis pros and men's tennis are surgeons. What I'm saying is they're totally different groups and entities, and they're not the same sport.
Well, and it's how much are you willing to get? How much can you get for that time? It's not
that too.
Because I run a 6-hour event and you run a 4-hour event doesn't mean that mine costs more. It's how many people are we going to get to
And
come.
I'll tell you this right now. I never complain. I complain about it, but not like, why is it like this? But I complain that it sucks. And that is, why do other sports, including like hockey,
right,
or they make more and get more TV time than tennis? Why is that? Is it pay inequality? No, it's because nobody cares about our dumb sport. You know what else I saw a lot of on ESPN this weekend?
Oh, God.
Cornhole.
Yeah.
All right.
For a while.
So they're getting airtime.
But and you complain about it, but you don't complain about it from the sake of unfairness. Like, that's the difference.
Right.
Like, complaining about it, complaining that women don't make enough money, there's nothing wrong with that.
You need
but
to
saying it's unfair.
You need to complain to the WTA,
right,
and either get them to change their leadership or whatever. But really, it's the fans. It's not their place. They're not making money. They're not the ones that are affected by these contracts. It's the players. The Players Council. I don't know how all that works. It's all very mysterious. But there are people in rooms, in meetings, making these decisions and having these arguments. And this is what they decide. And guess what? You don't have to play.
Well, but it's like you said, it's like if I walked into a place and said, I want to bring a big basketball tournament here, and I want you to pay me the same as you paid the NBA. I mean, they would laugh me out of the building.
No, they'd throw you out of them. But
like you said, it shouldn't be, well, the men got this, so the women should get this. It should be, if your complaint is the women should get more than $2.9 million, that's fine. I might agree with you, I might not. But what is the reason they should get more than 2.9? It's not because the men are getting 6.7. It's because you think that they're worth more than 2.9.
That too.
Which is fine.
Just the fact they're comparing the men's to the women's lessens their validity as a sport. It's like, by the way, if everything was flipped money-wise and the way they number the tournaments, and the women's were a WTA 1000 instead of their dumb names they have now. If everything was reverse, I would not complain 1 second about the men getting paid less.
Right.
If the driver of fans was women's tennis.
Right.
That's the part nobody really, again, you have to completely separate the tours completely to have a real comparison. And as a matter of fact, I'd say separate them completely and give the women first crack at setting up their schedule, and then the men will set up their schedule. That way there's no argument about, well, they got all the best weeks or whatever. And then see what happens. See how many, empty seats you have in each arena, or, oversold tickets, or whatever, how many, whatever, however you do it, the ratings, all the rest of it.
Well, and what this, outside of the gender issue, what this week is really showing me is how they've got to get this schedule ironed out. And we've talked about it, but it's getting pretty crazy when players can't even finish tournaments. I mean, there's got to be a way to fix that, because it's getting to be.
There's one way to fix it. One way.
Do what we say.
Listen to our podcast. We have the solution. We start the season in November. That's the Australian Open Series. You have a Masters on the front end, a Masters a week removed from the start.
Right.
So you got a gap in between. Maybe a little small, 250 or something in between, whatever. And then you have various 250s and 500s, however many weeks work out in between. You have to play a certain amount of those tournaments. Part of the seeding formula is those tournaments prior to that Grand Slam. Then after that slam is over, you're done with that surface. Now you go to clay. That's the French Open series. Then you same thing. Right. Start with a Masters, end with a week out a Masters, 250 in between, and then 250s and 500s in between. Boom. Because we started in November, we've got more grass time.
Right.
So now you can play more grass. I don't need it to be as long as the U.S. Open series or as long as whatever. It's fine.
Right.
I'm not asking for the world here, but give me 2 more weeks for the love of all things holy.
It's got to be minimum 4 weeks.
And you can have any surface you want anywhere during the same time. I don't care.
Right.
But they better not be a Masters and maybe not even a 500.
No, it's got to be lower than the points
even
that
at 250.
are in the main. Right.
Be a 250. I don't care. Have all 250s because not everybody can get into everything.
Right.
Whatever. And the fact if you decide to go, if you do what Team did, he's killing himself for the seeding of whatever.
And for half the points, which is fine. If they want to do that, then that's fine.
And so now, again, and then U.S. Open Series after that. And then after that, you can do all your laivers. You can do them in between. I don't care what you do.
Right.
But if Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic skip all these tournaments, their seeding is going to be hurt. And I don't care.
Right.
I don't care. Because, first of all, I don't care about seeding all that much.
Yeah.
We've already talked about the top 4 maybe only. I said 8. But you're a rebel.
Well, and if the top 4... Let's say even if the top 4 end up playing each other before the quarters, semis, well, 2 of them are still making it to the finals regardless. It doesn't matter if they play each other in the round of 16, quarters. We saw that when Federer and Nadal were 17 and 9, and they were in the Australian final. It doesn't matter what their seedings are. It's still going to be the same outcome.
You're right. They might have a tougher road.
Right.
They might have a couple of more.
Forbid.
Yeah, God forbid. God forbid they lose a set in an entire Grand Slam. 3 out of 5.
But, and again, am I saying that miraculously all these injuries are going to stop? No, because you're still training hard. Tennis is physical sport. It's going to happen, but it puts everybody more on an even playing field. It makes more sense just from the sake of building a progression of a year.
And guess what? We're going to lose some tournaments because if we sort of even out the length of each series, then some tournament, Wimbledon's going to grow, but the clay is going to shrink or a little bit.
What you do is you ask that place, hey, Madrid, we want to keep your date, but we would love for you to run a tournament, but it's got to be on grass. You want to keep it or you want to lose $10 million and give it to someone else?
Right.
And they can decide. And if they don't want to keep it, then that's on them.
Right. I do think there is some sense of a legacy, but I'll tell you where the legacy's not, whatever that club is or whatever courts are at that club. Because if a club wants to run a 500, they're going to rip out some clay and throw down some grass.
Right. That's what I mean, yeah.
Right. So I like that. I hadn't thought about that in terms of dealing with that issue because we haven't gotten that far before in our discussion. But, there's your issue right there. You want to keep, some of these tournaments? No problem. We'll shift them around in the calendar.
Right.
They might be in a different surface, but...
Well, like Miami, that...
Never heard of it.
Technically leading into the French. It's end of March, early April. That's fine. It's going to be clay in Miami. And
I'll give it green clay. If you want to do green clay, I don't care. It's American clay, baby.
But, to have, this is at least the second time in the calendar where you have 2 Masters in back-to-back week. It just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
You're killing, let's see how many players get injured during these 2 weeks and either can't play at all or can't play up to their ability in the U.S. Open because of this.
And who's not playing, who is playing from last week.
Right.
So it's not just who's in this week, but who's out from last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, I don't know if you know this or not, but Kukushkin's not the 2 seed. However,
Can he take his spot?
Yeah, he's in the 2 spot. Which means David Goffin will still lose early. So what do we got? All right, so Cincinnati, yes, of course, listen to our podcast. You will figure out the answers. We have them all.
We've discussed all these issues in detail.
On and off the
scheduling.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so who's going to win this one, Novak or Djokovic?
Novak is going to lose 3 fewer games than Nadal did in the final.
Ooh-wee. All right, so Isner's through. Again, it started on Sunday. There were some really key, important matches.
I got to watch that match, of course.
That was awful. It's so awful. He lives in Dallas.
They started bringing up I got to tell you this because I literally almost laughed out loud. The broadcaster says, every time that Lajovic has played Isner, it's been a close match. Every match Isner plays is a close match. Like, who has he not played that it's been close?
Well, that second set was 1-6. I think he was taking a break.
It was before that happened.
He was taking a break. It was 7-6, 1-6, 7-5.
Oh, see, I guess I went to bed when it was... Oh, that's right. Isner was down 3-0 when I went to bed in the second.
Right.
So I didn't even know that he'd won. But, yeah, they were saying that, and I'm like, every match Isner plays this close. Like, that was the dumbest... To argue that they're competitively matched because of that, Isner's competitively matched with anyone.
Right.
And I think Isner's beaten him like 6 out of 7 times or something.
Yeah. So we have Djokovic, which is really the only story that matters. Nobody else matters.
Well, Federer's in there.
Well, Federer and Djokovic are in the same half.
Well, yeah, which with Nadal being out,
right,
it makes the final potentially a repeat of this week.
Meaningless.
Right.
Meaningless. So team is through. He had a tough one against Bai, but that's the only people they can beat. So here's the bottom half. Who has a chance? To me, that's really it. Either Federer or Djokovic, right?
Oh,
because
definitely.
Federer could beat Djokovic. It's possible.
Yeah.
So we're assuming... I mean, I'm getting my house keys out because I'm putting those on the line here. I'm betting my house on Djokovic or Federer making it to the final, right?
Oh, yeah.
So here are the seeds on the bottom half. And you tell me yes, no, maybe.
For a potential finals run?
No. Yeah, who's going to beat him in the finals?
Okay.
The 7 seed, Zverev. Don't laugh.
He won't be there.
Don't laugh. It's not. The 11 seed, RBA. What they thought
he could be in the final, but he has no chance to beat either of them.
Okay.
Although he does have a tendency to beat Djokovic on a 3-set hard court match.
Cilic, the 14.
No.
Wild card Andy Murray. No, I'm kidding.
He just broke back, by the way.
Number 4 seed. Now that he's got his sea legs under him, Dominic Thiem.
I mean, I say no, but I mean, if to beat them in the final, no way.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
No way.
And maybe means they'll be there, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
So number 6, Nishikori.
No.
Number 12, Borna Coric.
No.
Number
He's
6,
lose to Opelka tonight.
Number the wild card. Number 16, Goffin.
No.
Man, I just talked about how much I like that guy like 2 weeks ago, and he fell apart since. And then Kukushkin's in the 2. Who else? Americans. Taylor Fritz?
No.
Opelka?
I mean...
These are all in the bottom half. I'm trying to...
Is Kyrgios in that half?
TFO?
No. Kind of forgotten about him the last few weeks.
What an awful bottom half. Murray and Gasquet. To me, Murray's the only thing I care about in the bottom half.
I mean, Kyrgios, to me, is the only one that going into the final has a chance to beat either of them.
Nick Kyrgios is going to lose to Italian Lorenzo Sonego.
I saw that's how he plays.
And then he plays Kudla or Lucas Pouille. And then
Pouille won that.
Fanini Shapovalov.
Yeah, Kyrgios plays tonight at 6.
Well, he's not going to get past Hatchinoff, is he?
Who, Kyrgios?
Yeah.
That's right. I saw that. So that actually is an interesting match to me because, see, again, I'm way more interested in that than watching Federer Djokovic destroy somebody.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Because Kechenow's such a big hitter.
Then you need to get Tennis Channel Plus for only $19. I don't know how much it is, but that was my sales pitch.
But that'll be an interesting match because I think they both play kind of similarly, so I don't know who that favors.
Yeah, and listen, it's fun to have matches that matter at some point in a tournament, but it's so few and far between, if you ask me. I mean, I think Fonini is going to be interesting all the way through.
Always.
And not just because, he'll, say mean things to women in Italian, but actual tennis reasons. Hey, Sam Querrey, what's he doing there? Is he living in Cincinnati or something? That's not nice.
I'm just watching the Tsitsipas and Kyrgios are playing doubles together again. And they play the Colombians first round.
There really is nothing more overrated in tennis right now than all these doubles pairings. I don't care.
Well, what's funny is the amount of hype they get compared to the amount of coverage they get is tenfold.
Right.
Like they don't show any of it, but so they talk about it forever.
In reality, nobody really cares because they don't put their money where their mouth is.
I mean, I think it's almost like they bring it up just in case they make the finals, so then they have the finals to show.
Right.
But they're not going to show the path to get there.
Right.
That's not important enough to show all the way through.
I hope they lose in the first round so I don't have to hear about it anymore.
They're playing the team they just lost to, so they easily could.
Hope they lose in straight sets. So, on the men's side, bigger story. Andy Murray in the draw, and you said he broke back, right?
He did, 2-2.
So overall, I guess, or what? There is no other story. I don't even know what else we can say.
To me, that's the biggest story, but the problem is when that story ends today, then what do you have left? You got to have something. I guess it's just Djokovic and Federer, 45.
All right, so here's what we got. All right. Can Isner take out Djokovic?
I mean, he's beaten him before on a hard court.
Tsitsipas could take out Federer. I mean, those are the potential people they're going to be playing.
It looks like the top half is where all the interest is for sure.
Yeah, the bottom half is boring. If I had my board hooked up, I'd be able to do Homer Simpson boring. But all right, who cares? Let's talk about women. I mean, because really, you're right. I mean, there's nothing. It's a lock. I mean, the number one story is going to be Federer Djokovic.
If I could get Vegas odds on how much I could win if I bet on Federer and Djokovic both to lose before the final, there's no way they wouldn't take that bet.
Right?
It'd probably 500 times my money if that happened.
Right?
It's just not going to happen.
Bet 500 to win $1.
Right?
That's not a good bet. It's not a good bet at all.
Because it's like you said, it's okay. Tsitsipas beats Federer, well then he loses Djokovic next round. I mean, it's like it doesn't matter.
Right?
I mean, it matters to those guys, obviously.
It's definitely worst of all scenarios not having a big three in the bottom half, for sure. That's the worst of all worlds.
Well, to give you an idea of the difference between tennis and another major sport, so they were making a big deal that we had one of the biggest upsets ever in baseball yesterday. And you know what it was? It was
the Pirates won? Because they're awful.
It was this team must have a worse record than the Pirates because but the Orioles beat the Astros.
Oh, right.
And it was like, if you bet on the Orioles 100, you won 500. So I'm like, that's 5-1.
Right.
Like, that's nothing for tennis.
Right. There are matches you can't get action on.
Right.
Because they're ridiculous.
But the fact that baseball, even the worst teams can be that close. And again, tennis is never going to be like that. But
right.
You used to the common line coaches and everybody likes to use pros. Anybody could beat anybody on a given day. That's literally, that isn't true on the tour.
On the men's tour, for sure.
Absolutely not. Unless there's some hidden extenuating circumstance. Yeah, I mean, it is true, but when it's 1/10 of 1%.
Right. All things being equal.
Yeah, it's just frustrating.
So, and that just makes the draw less. It puts me in the position of saying, all right, which one of these jokers can take out one of the big three, or in this case, the big two? I'm cheering for like Dennis Kudla to, you know what I mean, or whatever. It's like, come on.
Djokovic a set this year.
Do what?
He did beat Djokovic a set this year.
What?
Yeah, and it's like you said, like those matches that were on yesterday and the ones that are on today. It's like, why do I need to watch when I know it's not going to lead anywhere?
Right. And let me be clear. I don't like women's tennis at all. They should be paid way less. All right?
Erase that.
The reason I say that is because we have to gush all over the women's draw and talk about how wonderful it is, because it is. It's a million times better.
Even a lower tier tournament.
A million times better.
And by the way, why is this a lower tier tournament when all the players still play?
I don't know.
That's the other thing that doesn't make any sense. All your top players are playing, so just make it a tier 1.
Maybe it is a tier 1. I don't know.
I think there would be an outcry, more of an outcry if it was a tier 1. But so we know Bianca's out. Serena's definitely got to be out. So we're guaranteed to have 2 new finalists.
I mean, I've got Serena in, but I don't know if she'll...
I can't imagine.
I can't either. All right,
I think it would actually make her look bad if she played.
Right, exactly. So we got usual suspects. Barty at 1, Osaka at 2,
Pliskova,
Halep. And hopefully Halep was just precautionary, but she still wants to get some matches in. And then Burton's, Kvitova, Svitolina, and Sloane.
So literally everybody.
Right.
The top
Sabalenka, Serena, Sebastova, Bencic, Kerber, Konta.
Jeez.
Wang, Keys. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a bunch.
You forgot Sharapova. She plays Risk first round.
I don't know why her name is not in bold type. Why isn't her name in bold type?
Why it's not invisible.
There is a wild card next to her name. She got a wild card. I hope Allison Risk beats her.
And doesn't the winner play Barty?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that literally will be Maria Sharapova's biggest match of the year. Literally.
Well, she's got to win the first one.
And by the way, I'm using that word correctly.
Right.
Literally. That would be her biggest match of the year. Remember when she opened up against Halep in the first round of the Grand Slam, and it was like the biggest
and won and didn't do anything else,
and that was it.
Since then,
this would be the equivalent to that, in my opinion, for her. And I think people overhype it.
Oh yeah, but that could easily happen again at the Open.
She's finished, man. She's finished.
That's what you said, but that could easily happen again at the Open. She could get some seed first round, and she'll be on the night match at the U.S. Open. She's 16-1 in night matches. The U.S. Open, well, too bad her next match is going to be at night, so it doesn't matter. They can't put all 7 of hers at night.
So we've got, the downside is we've got Serena with her injury issue, Halep with her injury issue, Stevens with her head issue.
Head injury.
Osaka, who knows? I do want to see Barty bring it, and hopefully she'll get some results this time.
Did you get to see any of the... I was really excited to watch Osaka and Serena, but I was in a place where I couldn't get it. But looking at the draw, I was excited for that potential matchup, and it looked like it was competitive. It was like 6-3, 6-4.
Yeah.
I don't know if Serena was extra motivated because it was Osaka, or Osaka was more. It
didn't
motivated.
live up to the hype that it should have. It was all right.
Yeah, I didn't hear anybody talking about it like it was a great match.
It wasn't a great match, but even Serena. She's been pretty percentage-wise, just not playing great tennis. But
it's funny because I feel like
she's on the come up, though. I think she's starting to physically, obviously, a little setback here and there.
I heard she physically looks a lot better.
She's looking fitter, and that's huge.
Yeah, it's almost like there's some players that are kind of coming up just before the Open, so it's actually pretty interesting.
And you just can't look at this draw without there are potential matchups everywhere. How about this? 3 years ago, this would have been an unbelievable match.
Azarenka and somebody.
No, Keys and Muguruza.
Oh, yeah. Muguruza another one who's is she really going to fade away? Or is she, because you always think she's going to come back.
Right.
And then she keeps losing early.
I'm not excited. But the funny thing is that, like I said, two or 3 years ago, that would have been one of the first matches I would have tried to see. But now I just don't care. I literally don't care about that match.
Well, it's also a terrible style matchup, too.
Well, that too, which means just maybe one of them will get through.
Right.
I don't know. Right below that, you've got Anisimova. So obviously, as Americans, we want to keep an eye on her.
I forgot about her earlier when we said young Americans. She's definitely one of the other ones that's exciting.
For sure. V-Will's in the house. That's fun.
I'm kind of, for the first time ever, my excitement is fading for her a little bit.
Agreed. But she can beat anybody.
But will they show every second of her match on ESPN during the Open?
More than that. They'll show more than that. Wozniacki is in the draw. See if she's got her life together. Trying to see. Kenin has Julia Gerges.
Okay.
And then if she wins that, she'll have Elise Mertens or a wild card.
So Gerges is unseated now.
Yep.
So those are the kind of matches that
are good.
Those players kind of are trapped, they used to call them football trap games. It's kind of like that. You're not playing one of the big names, but it's a bigger name, a higher ranked player than you.
But is it? Because I think I'm sure the women look at it like we do, where everybody can play, everybody can, because it is, the depth is so.
But I think we have that with.
Hold on, you talked over me being an idiot. I said the depth.
I was trying to save you.
Is so deep. Righty.
But no, what I mean by that is and Sloane is a prime example. We know Sloane is going to get motivated to play Serena or Keys or Halep. But is she going to get motivated to play Mertens or the Sevastova who she struggled against? It's I
don't know. Is it motivation? I don't know.
I don't know what the reason is.
Yeah.
But it's I feel like those are the there's, for what I mean by it, there's a reason Mertens, again, I know a lot about her because she's on my fantasy team. There must be, I don't know what it is. There must be a reason she's 15 in the world or 18 because she doesn't win ever. It doesn't seem like, but yet she's still 16 or 18 in the world. But, I mean, she must be picking up wins against people that are not expecting her to be as good, or she just does something. And those are the kind of people that seem to take out players we don't expect.
Right.
Like
one other player,
like Anasimova, those people.
Yeah. One other player that I am going to keep an eye on because I've attached my tennis knowledge to her results, and that's Konta.
Yeah.
I'm the only person outside of the UK that gives a crap about Konta. But
I really thought she was going to disappear, and she's rebounded a lot this year.
I know. That's why I'm just pulling for her. She's got a qualifier, and then she'll play either a wild card or no. Wait a second. No, then she'll play Sevastova. Well, that's a bummer. So
well, but that's a winnable match for her.
Yeah, sure. They all are.
Yeah.
Every match is a winnable match for every seriously, almost
right.
every woman in the draw. Except Sharapova or Bouchard.
Yeah.
Wonder if they played each other.
I didn't know, but Bouchard's not in the draw, I bet.
No.
He's not in Canada to get the wild card anymore.
That's not nice. I don't think.
Well, the U.S. Open Series ain't giving her a wild card to anything. USTA, they had to pay her whatever it was, $2 million.
Oh, crazy.
She'll probably be. No, she might be too good for qualifying. In the U.S. Open, she'll be in the main draw.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But no, you talked about like storylines for the men, and we couldn't really find any. The women, there's tons. It's,
too many.
Right.
We have to wait
to see which ones
right. Two or three rounds in to see what narratives kind of form, because in there almost any combination is going to put us in a pretty good spot.
Right.
Virtually. I mean, it would have to be just a disastrous tournament.
Right.
Not that can't happen. We've seen that in the not too distant past.
To me, it's like you said, Kenin, does she continue? Andreescu, obviously, does she continue? And then how do these higher-ranked players rebound from most of them losing early? Barty, Osaka, Pliskova.
Right. Yeah, I do think that's one piece that I think you'll agree that we want to see is the higher seeds, living up to their seed.
Right.
That matters.
And that's going to sound counter to what we say in the men's, but no, it's not, because Team, like I said, was the 2 seed. Zverev was a 3 seed. We want to see people that are supposedly the best players in the world act like it.
Right. And the difference is, on the women, lots of different people win and lose, right, whereas it's only 3.
Right.
3.5 if you count Murray. Where is he at right now?
Well, and maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's a flaw in our system, the ranking system, that players can be 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 in the world without really winning anything important.
Yeah. By the way, he's down a break again.
Well,
not down a broken hip, just a broken serve.
Well, I was going to say, for him, down a break as his normal game is not a big deal. But, being down a break, like, meaning he's a return specialist, so it's not a huge deal to be down a break. But,
right.
But, to say his normal game, he doesn't have a normal game.
Right. That is the only reason he's a storyline is because we're hoping he can get back to his regular life. I am dubious at best.
Well, and someone said, is he going to play the Open? I said, I hope not.
Right.
I'm in favor of him.
If we want to see him ever again,
right,
it's like, dude, don't do that to yourself.
Like, play a couple tournaments here and there. Then you have the whole winter.
Right.
Keep working on it. Play the Australian, and that'll be the test.
And then see what happens.
Or even wait till Wimbledon next year. Who cares?
Right.
Because, do you think there's any way he believes he will ever contend for a Grand Slam again?
I bet you he doesn't.
And that's what I mean. And if the answer is no, even
I don't.
to him, we know we think is no. But even to him, if the answer is no, then there's no reason to play one until Wimbledon next year.
Dollar bills, y'all. If he wins 3 rounds, he's still making money.
Yeah, but
what's wrong with making money?
He doesn't need that.
Cranking up his win totals, man.
Yeah, but he's not in that conversation
true
with any of those guys. So
true,
nothing's going to change. Yeah, if he was 19 and Federer was 20, I could see him let me really fight for this.
Right.
Back out there. But it's not. He's already the best British player probably ever. Well, definitely ever.
Yeah.
Or at least in our
not ever,
our
but
lifetimes.
In the modern era for sure.
So I don't think there's no motivation for him unless he thinks he can compete for one to play the Open.
Maybe. Who knows? At this point, maybe it's just, I just want to compete 100%
be out there
again. So, and I could see that for sure.
Yeah.
So, all right. I think we've wrapped it up and tied a bow on it.
We got to keep it in one show this week.
Yes, I can't. First of all, I don't even know if I did it right. Like, neither of those podcasts could even work. I don't even know. No, I listened to them both. It's weird. It's like it's just one just ends and the other, and then you start
right into it.
Yeah, there's no intro. It's so stupid.
But it's like you said. I don't know.
We're getting ready to go over, so let's
maybe you should
save that thought.
All right,
for the next show. You can tell me after.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's riveting.
That's right. No,
all right. So again, check us out. Tennis Revolution Pod on Instagram. Tennis Rev Pod on Twitter. And doggone it, follow us, and then but also retweet or share it on Facebook or whatever things people do. Do it. We're growing, except when I mess up and have editing issues, it causes a disaster. We're growing, but we just want to keep growing. We deserve it. We deserve it. So
that's why we're here.
Yes, follow all those things and share all those things and spread us around. We're easy that way. We like to be spread around. I don't know where I'm going with that. That was too much. But next time, we'll get tail into Cincinnati, and then it is
all U.S. Open, baby.
I'm telling you, we're going to do 9 weeks of U.S. Open. Because what's after that? Nothing.
No, but it's only 1 week of dead time.
I know. So
draw analysis and all that.
Hard court tennis, man, it is the best surface by far. And U.S. Open is the best slam by far, in my opinion.
And hopefully it won't be 1,000 degrees still when the U.S. Open starts.
Oh, my God, it's so hot here. It's unreal. It is so hot. I don't know if global warming is real anywhere else, but it's real here.
It hasn't been here this year, but now it is.
It is. This is like Mars or whatever. Mercury is the one closest to the sun. Whatever.
Mars is still closer.
Yeah, something.
No, it's not.
It's the other direction.
You're right. It's red. It's got to be hot.
Hey, thanks for listening to the Astronomy Revolution. Yeah. All right, so I didn't say astrology. I know the difference. All right, so do all those things on social media and spread the word. Keep listening. Thanks for downloading. Until next time, thanks for joining the revolution.
Bye, guys.
Eugenie or Maria?